Hey everybody, and welcome to Honeybee Entertainment. I'm your Coach B, and today we're going to be exploring counters in Overwatch 2, and how you might play into them better. I think the first thing we're going to have to do today is define counter. The Webster Dictionary has a few definitions, but I've pulled two. Counter, noun. A thing which opposes or prevents something else. Counter, verb. Response to hostile speech or actions. Now, with those two definitions, I've put together an in-game definition. So, counter, a hero or ability that opposes or attempts to prevent your hero from getting value in response to your actions. So essentially, all that means is that either a hero or something they possess will limit what you can do with your kit of resources. So let's just jump. I'm gonna go ahead and throw me into this little custom game so we can just run around, show the characters that we're talking about and whatnot. So the first example I put together was the Diva Example. So let's say you're just doing a great job with Diva, destroying everyone, and the enemy team decides that they are going to switch to Zarya, Symmetra, Mei, Moira, right? All of these characters that have beams because they know that you can't use your defense matrix on your beams. So in a lot of cases, I genuinely would recommend it might be best to swap off. However, Diva can play into this without a problem. So they're trying to stop you from getting value in your defense matrix. But that's not all that Diva has to offer, right? Diva is just a massive tank with a ton of health and armor, right? Super good mobility. When they're up close, they can deal a lot of damage between their primary fire and with their micro missiles. So those are a ton of valuable things that they possess right there, and their playstyle will always be going and drawing attention, making space for their team, trying to get in on the back line, destroy a target, and get out. So the playstyle for Diva has already been established. So what happens when they swap to all of these beam characters? Well, the first issue that they will find is that all of those characters have a severe lack to range. That is something that Diva also has, but we can play into this. All that these heroes really have are their secondary fires for range, all of which can be blocked with the defense matrix, right? We still have fantastic movement and the ability to reposition ourselves extremely quickly. So with those two things put together, we don't have to try to delete people. In fact, we're going to struggle at all if we're trying to push up and get into the enemy's faces. So we're going to have to change not Diva's play style, but we're going to have to change how she goes about it. So now that they're playing these beam characters, let's say Diva wants to get up here and draw attention. Hey, I'm over here, my team's over there. They're going to have to look at you. You're doing decent damage here. Because you're pretty short, but they are forced to look at you, and you can sit here for a good second. You don't need to use your defense matrix, right? The other option would be your team is here. You are quite literally going to stand in front of them, let them play at range, and what you're going to do is you're going to suck up the secondary fire projectiles and simply be a body to block. Use your boosters to take space and swap between your different teammates to keep them safe the best you can from secondary fire. But in general, your whole team in this playstyle is going to have to take advantage of their lack of range. You can move around, you can pepper them, you can get them to look at you, but the big thing here is that you don't have to counter the beams. You play into it. Let the fact of them not having range on their team be the the nail in the coffin for them. Because if you can get over here just about anybody on your DPS lineup or support roster are just going to be able to deal damage up this street fairly consistently. A Moira, a Zarya, a Symmetra, can they shoot that corner? Not really. They need to be up here, right? And so if you're forcing them back or getting behind them, they are going to be put in a very hard situation. So the next example I put together was a Widowmaker example. And that was one of the main reasons I picked this map, actually. Because I think we all have probably had a team that has gotten pretty hard stuck right here at first point. So a Widowmaker, a good Widowmaker, can get up here, and they're not just sitting here going pshh, pshh. No, a good Widowmaker is going to be playing back here, right? They're going to be waiting for people to come up the bridge. They're going to be taking like angles all the way back here in order to shoot, right? They're going to limit the range for that top balcony. They're moving around, being very diligent about, make sure they're moving, but they are holding that ground and they're keeping everyone stuck right here. So a very popular solution would be, hey, they've got this Widow that we can't take care of. I'm going to swap to Sombra, and I'm just going to take care of this. That doesn't really teach you how to play into the Widowmaker, though, does it? It teaches you how to play Sombra into a team that has a Widowmaker. So if you were playing, I don't know, a Venture, right? And so you're really struggling because your whole team is just kind of getting up here, and you're trying to play your range, and you're just struggling, right? Keep getting sniped over and over and over. Solution. Instead of that, you come over here. You can get out of spawn, you can get over here without being seen, and you can probably even sneak past their team over to this room. You'll be able to get damage in from here. The Widowmaker might see you, which is going to force them to reposition already, and you can just sit here and do damage, right? Underneath. Or, if you wanted to, back here, you could do something like this, right? You're going to boost over here, jump up, boom, boom, whatever it might be. So this Widowmaker, all they chose to do is they made Venture's playstyle harder. They no longer can just run it up main. They're going to have to take a route around the side. I don't like going over here with Venture. It's just too open. But that works too. You can go over here, take a flank, essentially. The Widowmaker's in the way. You didn't have to change to the Sombra that can just easily run right past everyone, translocate up here, translocate over there, or just jump the gap. No, all you had to do is change how you were playing a little bit, right? The other one would be Echo. I've played a lot of Echo, so I think I just picked this one for that reason. So Echo's playstyle is that they want to sit kind of at a nice medium range and do pepper damage, right? Throw off stickies, and when people get low, they want to come in to secure the kill. And if I had my dash available, which I should have, I would have dashed out. So a kind of mid-range, and then when you have the chance, you're gonna burst in to do a lot of damage on a target. Finish them off with a beam, make sure you land a full thing of stickies, whatever it might be for closing that range. Now, the popular counter to a good Echo player is that they're gonna swap to a Soldier and an Ashe, or anything hit scan. They decide to just go double hit scan. It's like, oh, I can't hit this flyer. I need something that's hit scan. And notably, yes, that is one of the best ways to deal with an Echo if you're really struggling. Like a Junkrat has a hard time shooting up in the sky, especially if the Echo is good with their aerial movement. However, if you were playing Junkrat on this first point over here, a Junkrat standing right here, I don't like very much, honestly. I can come all the way over here, or like in this room, in order to hit him. I don't like how close I am to his grenade launcher, though. I'm also within mine range, you know, with a good throw. So even being up here or right there, that's a fairly dangerous place for me with the Junkrat there. So when they decide to switch to Soldier 76, now it's no longer, oh, I'm afraid to get too close. Now it's I'm afraid to be too far away. So there's a soldier over there, right? You're gonna take a creative angle. You're gonna get over here. Boom, throw your stickies. Hit him with a beam, you know? So they swapped heroes, and Echo had to swap playstyles. Or I should say, not their playstyle, but how they wanted to play their playstyle. I'm no longer looking for my stickies, you know, doing the medium damage and then looking for a kill. Right there, I decided to go on a big flank and then do my kill, right? So the play style remained the same. I'm still looking to, you know, do some chip damage, and then I'm really looking to finish those kills. So none of those things have changed at all. The Widowmaker, the Widowmaker example, the Widow is going to keep playing their playstyle. A good Widow, if they are getting dove, what that means to them is I need to move more. So they're going to take a shot, and a good Widow is going to start repositioning. Take a couple more shots, start repositioning. So they are going to change the way they go about their play. They're going to try to stay maybe closer to their team because they keep getting dove, or they're going to choose to keep rotating. So in the Diva example, the Diva didn't need to swap. They still are looking to do burst damage and draw attention, and they can still do that. They just have to be, they can no longer brawl on the front line, right? That's been completely taken off the table for them. So in the game, there are also ability counters. So this would be like Ana's Nade and Kiriko's Suzu. That would be one where Kiri's Suzu cleanses Ana Nade. Sombra's Invisibility, right? And Hanzo's Sonic Arrow could be considered a counter of each other. Doom's Rocket Punch and Arista's Fortify. Those would be a counter to it. And then like Orion Pin, Weaver Grip, just abilities that straight up are effective against another character. So these would just be counter abilities. And so a lot of times they make swaps based off of the ability that they have or the play style that comes along with that ability. So, you know, in Diva's case, they're swapping to beams primarily because of her defense matrix and the ability to soak up damage while she's using it. So that part of her play has to be changed. She's no longer using the DM to brawl, she's using the DM to hold space for her core that's, you know, shooting the backline. So I want to briefly talk about counter swapping. I kind of already have, but this video isn't about counter swapping, right? It's about how we can play into the counters, and I've already addressed this. I wanted to look at the psychology of why people do counter swap. So people mainly want to counter swap because it's easier. They have the Widowmaker, and a Sombra can get up on the Widow and kill them so quickly. And, you know, if they keep choosing Widow and the Sombra is just feeling so toxic that they're just going to make sure that as soon as they get back to the fight, they're dead. That Widow is being, you know, countered by the Sombra, but what happens when they don't play Widow anymore? What happens when they decide to start swapping to, like, a Tracer, and they're gonna just get up in your backline and start hurting you? So the idea is that you're mainly swapping because of the abilities that that hero has. Amalga has their Cardiac Overdrive. Diva gets swapped because they can eat, you know, the whole duration of that. You know, they have a Reinhardt, so they decide to pick Ramatra to, you know, be up in the Ryan's face. They're making these changes based off of the ability that Ryan has to swing his hammer. Or Orisa versus Ryan for her ability to completely mitigate his ability to charge her. So the counter swap is based off of an ability or the playstyle that is allowed. But we don't need to counter swap, we just need to perform a counter as a verb, a response to a hostile action, right? So instead of you saying, oh man, Widow's hard, I'm going to switch to Sombra, as I already noted, that only teaches you how to play Sombra against a team that is currently having a Widowmaker. It doesn't really help you with this, and it's not going to help you with the character you were trying to learn either. So, this is going back to a previous video, but I'll readdress it. What really needs to change is not the hero they're playing, it's not their identity that's changing, or that the identity that's getting countered. It's simply the cart that you have to change. The cover, the angle, the range, and the tempo that you're playing with. When they decide that they're going to play beams into Diva, the cover is that she needs to make sure that she's a little bit closer to cover, a little bit closer to her team. The angle, she's looking for those soft angles to draw attention away from her team and or get the chance to do free damage. Range, we had noted that she no longer can get up close in a brawl fashion, so she's going to have to play a little further back. She's going to start not really looking for damage with her weapons, but to draw attention. And the tempo, she's going to need to play slower. She's going to need to play for the moments where she can get the biggest burst and the biggest opportunity, or the biggest bang for her buck, I should say. So all of those things, the character didn't change. The Diva is still looking to use her hypermobility and her good damage up close to get around, draw attention, and do a ton of damage to a hero at the same time. They have canceled her ability to use the defense matrix extremely offensively, but she can still use it in a defensive fashion. So all of the parts of her kit still remain, she's just using them differently. So, in conclusion, I would simply say that heroes don't really have counters. There are abilities that are good against other abilities, but at the end of the day, that's simply a bad matchup. It's potentially harder to play into certain characters than others, but when you play those games and are struggling against that character, all that it really means is you need to take a little bit closer look at how was I playing my character into theirs? How could I do it better next time? And I guarantee you that if you think it through, you're going to be able to find those areas where you're saying, oh, okay, so they swapped to the Ashe, and I kept playing out of range, and I kept getting sniped. I needed to be taking this off angle to the left, and I needed to, dive on her more. I needed to, be a little bit more aware of closing distance before engaging. Things like that. So, heroes don't have counters, they have bad matchups. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. I'm your Coach B, and this has been Honeybee Entertainment. Have a great night.